Hello, it's Kerry. Today I want to scrapbook these photos. What I noticed is they do all look really quite similar. So what I am going to be trying to do is make sure that it doesn't all blend into one. And I want to use the new Nature Walk paper pack because I think some of the colours look really great. Don't know if you've seen them before. They're new, but they're really great natural colours, and I do think that these colours lend themselves really well to the photos that I want to cover today. To show you here, there's the sticker sheet with this pack as well, which we should be able to get some bits and pieces out of that. When I look through the paper pack, it's this paper that immediately jumps out at me as being really well toned in with the photos, but what I'm cautious about is ending up with a layout that is too blue and having the photos sort of disappear into the background. It's kind of starting to fade away. So I'm going to have a look at some different papers and see what we can do. And this picture of Sky with the sunset, there's the yellow obviously of the sunset and yellow on her life jacket and the kind of golden reflection in her hair. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably try and bring some of that yellow in to the layout just to provide that contrast against all the blue. This is what I've pulled together so far. So these are the green and the blue papers from Nature Walk. And then I was looking for something with that golden flavour in, and if in doubt, go to wood grain, right? So I actually pulled this from the Country Woods collection, which I wanted something grey because of some of the sky and the water and the boat have grey themes to them. But then also it's got the gold, so I really love that. I'm going to use that for the base paper. And then I also pulled this one out from Utterly Adorable, and it's got the pretty peacock colour that is in the Nature Walk pack. So I don't think we want large volumes of that colour because it doesn't really go with this green, and this is the right green for the trees in these photos. But it gives us some more of those kind of warmer golden peachy colours, and I think a small amount of that is going to be nice. So I'm thinking these will go down here just as a strip, and I'm probably going to do this as a banner tail, and then this space here is going to be where I'm planning to put the title. This is what I'm thinking. Obviously I'll cut this off here, so then we'll have a nice piece of the wood grain there. I'm thinking maybe might see if I can stamp a title there, or if not, some dies. Obviously we'll need to put some mats behind some of the photos, especially these ones. They tone in really nicely, but we need a little bit more separation, I think. One thing that I am noticing though is this is a little bit of a story, and so I want Richard's laughter to be at the end, but that means he's pointing this way. He's looking out from the layout. So I might just go and do a sneaky trick where you just flip the photo over, so then it will look like he was looking this way. So I'm going to do that, and I'll cut the papers. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is this is a trick that I do quite often, is this is one 12-inch piece. So what I'll do is I'll cut it down the middle and I make it stretch across the 2 pages. So quite often you can use one piece of paper to cover up the bulk of 2 A4 widths. And the other thing that I want to do, I might not do it on this side, but I'm definitely going to do it on this side, is gut out the back of this wood grain piece, because we are covering most of it up, and it would be a real waste to, have this much paper just hidden at the back when it's pretty. I could take a section out of here, but that tends to be a little bit more difficult. I've stuck the papers down and brought the photos back. You will see here what I said about flipping the photo of Richard. So that's how it was with him looking out of the layout. And now I've turned it around and he's looking into the layout, and can you see how much better that looks? Now I need to think about photo mats, and I've got these papers here. So this is Calypso Coral. This is a more orangey paper that I had in my stash. And then these are 2 from the new Mixed Up Patterns collections that are both yellow. So What I'm wondering is which of these is going to be right for matching this photo of sky. So I don't think we want the peach right next to this, but maybe if you put a yellow in as well. I mean, not the stripe, I don't think. It's a little bit distracting. And we've got this one, which I think the colour's kind of right. This one, which does look really nice with the photo, but I think it's just going to shout too much at this colour here. I've cut mats out for the photos. I went with the Calypso Coral along the bottom, and then I've stacked Calypso Coral, the lighter side of Crushed Curry here together. I felt like we needed some of the brighter colours over onto this side. This photo had space to be matted, the others are a bit tight, so that one's gone there. I've inked up all around the edges, and I used a little bit of the mixing patterns to make a banner here. So I think probably next we're going to have a look at the title, and then it'll be time to embellish. But what I've done is I've glued the title down, lifted it on the washi tape, applied the glue, and then I was able to stick it down, so they should be straight. So they've had a few minutes to dry, so I'm going to peel them off now and see if we have a title. I've done this title in a patterned blue paper that I had, because this is the first paper pack I've ever had that includes blueberry bushels, so I didn't have any blueberry cardstock. And then I've just used the navy here for the rest of the title. These are the mini alpha dies, and I've used them to say our wake on the, and then I've used this more kind of dramatic font to be kind of reminiscent of the wake and the waves for lake. So we'll have a little bit of space here to do some decoration of some sort. I think we'll have one embellishment cluster here, and then I haven't really decided what's happening over here yet. I want to put this little tab above that small photo in the top corner, and I thought it would be a good place to add the date. Going to use the Night of Navy ink, but need to do a little bit of practicing. Don't know if you saw any of my December daily videos, but I had some interesting situations trying to use the date stamp on photos. I do a few quick practices and then I get a nice impression on the tab. I have used my little pouch to de-stick this a bit. As you can see, it was still kind of sticky, but I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on it as well. Make sure it stays put. And I'm hoping this is just going to fill this little space nicely. Oh, hang on, I think we might want to ink that edge. And I won't ink the bottom edge because that's going to look like it's coming out from behind this photo here. So get it back with my tweezers and get it centered. Get that down. So I think this is the sort of Lost Lagoon colour, and we've got this thing that I think makes a lot of sense because we had lots of rides this day. I don't know quite where I'm putting it yet, so I just popped it here for the moment. I'm going to make a little scene with Scenic Adventures, and this is going to be the water, and I'm going to curl those over to be like the wake from the boat. So I have the stamp here, and I'm going to stamp a load of lines in the water. I'm not quite sure how deep the water is going to need to be yet, but I just thought I'll do a load of stamping. I've got my foam mat, get it the right way over so that we can make sure we get nice good impressions. And then over here I've cut out some different trees and some leaf greenery bits, grassy bits as well as a couple of hills, and I'm hoping between all of this we can build a nice scene. So I've got Night of Navy ink because that's in the paper pack. I stamped the water ripples repeatedly across the card at different angles, overlapping and going off the side to make sure it's a continuous picture. And then it's nice to curl up the edges, and if it's not going great, which that isn't, a little spray of water can help. So this is the stamping spritzer. Let's actually just close the thing up before we start spritzing. And it's just got water in it, like a little pump spray. Just wet those edges a little bit. There we go. Curl. It's alright if we've got some of the blue curling through from the back, because waves do tend to be white and blue, don't they? Okay, that will do for that. To build the scene, I start with the small mountain that goes at the back, and then I take the next one and I tuck that under the banner tail to try and make the layout feel more together. I add pretty peacock trees and the hillside cut from the same paper as the background, then tuck in the waves at the front to finish the scene. I then add 3 small fir trees to the left-hand side just to cover up that left-hand edge where the paper can be a little bit square. I've had a play and I've got some small embellishment clusters put together. They're not entirely sure they're clusters, they're definitely embellishments. Obviously we've got this scene here that I just need to trim that edge off. I was talking to my friend earlier today about this layout, and she said, well, if it's a boat layout, do you have like some anchors? And I was going, no, I don't think I have an anchor stamp. And then I found one. So I just thought this looked like it needed a little bit something filling here. I'm actually just going to pop that up so that it can lie a bit flatter. And get it nice and inky. Got one chance. And we're going to go for here. Yes. Always a relief when that's done. What I ended up doing is I put the journaling onto a circle, one of the Spotlight on Nature die circles. Then I did a compass and I coloured that in using Spectrum Noir Golden Yellow, I think it was. And that obviously matches nicely with the yellow highlights that we've got here. And then for the third embellishment cluster, took this sticker, Enjoy the Ride, which actually is from the paper set, the sticker sheet. And I've turned it into a key ring because I thought it'd be cool to have the keys to the boat, because in the journaling it talks about that my cousin's husband let my kids have a go at driving the boat, so the key sort of seemed to make sense. That key is actually from the Tags to Go, something like that. The On the Go set, the dies for that had that key in, and I've used that for a car key previously, so quite happy with those. Now, because this was double matted and then there's the photo on the top and there's also layers of paper here, what I decided to do was actually use dimensionals. So I stuck them down, and we'll just take the sticky backs off and get them. I find it so much easier to do this with tweezers than with my fingers, so we'll go for that. And then we might just put a little bit of glue here on the photo where this one's going to overlap. So now the important thing here is to get it overlapping the photo the right amount and make sure it's as straight as we can. So maybe about there. We'll stick that bit there with the glue, and then that's got the dimensionals. That looks all right. Then Similarly, I've just put a single dimensional here, and we'll put a couple of little dots of glue on the photos, because I'm going to put this sort of here-ish. So maybe a teensy bit here and a little bit more there. We've puffed the cover. Just going to put it slightly on a wonk, because when I actually had it really square, it looks, or like really straight up, it looked slightly odd actually. So sometimes you want to put things on an angle rather than putting them straight. And then the final piece is our keyring. I'm just looking at which angle I want to position that as before I stick it down. And I'm happy enough for the silver thread to just loop over, gives it a little bit of texture. So all we need to do now is see what we're doing about bling. I've put the bling down now. Sky came and helped me choose some colours, just that I would show you these little boxes that I have. I think they're that 6x4 photo box size, but I've got them in different colours, so I sort my gems by colours, which is really helpful. I use the kind of pearlescent transparent ones that are kind of bubbly, so I thought that made sense for the water. And then we used kind of a greenish green and more of a turquoisey green to decorate across the layout there. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 embellishment clusters. Good to always have an odd number. I'll pick these up for you to have a look now. And that's there. The title and the anchor that's come out really well. And then on this side, see the gems again. Got the key made out of that silver foil. And you see the bubbles down in the bottom catching the light as well. So I just need to trim off here, and then we are all done, and this one's ready for the books. If you've enjoyed today's layout, please do give it a like. Look out for the other shorts coming out of this video across the rest of the week. And if you've enjoyed it, come back and see me again. Please press subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. Thank you. Bye bye.